Because the first part of maintaining rights is claiming them. Knowing that they're yours. That's the first part. You have to claim your right. You cannot maintain your right and say they're not yours. And we wonder, because all of us do, why we are losing our rights. But yet we will not claim them. We won't say that they're ours. And I don't know if that's the good nature of most humans. I don't know. But, maybe it seems too greedy to say they're ours. But it is divine law for an individual to own property. And until you understand that and are willing to say, I own this, because the creator of this world made it possible for me to own it. And therefore it's my stewardship. I have to take care of it. I got to use it for the benefit of myself and my fellow man. I need to be responsible with it. I need to take care of it. But I own it. And ownership, by definition, is the power to control. You can't say I own something and then someone else controls it. That's not ownership. Ownership is the power to control. And if somebody else controls what you think you own, you don't own it. So, we took a stand. And they videoed that. While we were there, right before I actually drove the four-wheeler in front of the dump truck, one of the federal agents comes right behind my Aunt Margaret, 57-year-old woman, and literally picks her up and body slams her on the asphalt. And if you think I'm exaggerating what I'm saying, I want you tonight to go on the internet and watch it. I am not exaggerating to try to, to make this something that it's not. And we stood. We knew that right there and then that they were going to have to take our lives away before they were going to take our heritage and our livelihoods away. And when I came to the ranch, because I didn't live on the ranch, I don't live on the ranch now. When I came to the ranch, there's many circumstances that actually brought me there. But I actually said to the county undersheriff, I said, this is not worth dying over. I actually said that. And I tell you, by Wednesday, when I saw what they were doing, I completely changed my mind. It was absolutely worth dying for. Because I knew that I couldn't pass on to my son what was happening there on my father's ranch. And there was many others that believed the same thing. So we stood. And that little incident there on Wednesday was caught on video thanks to our phones and social media, which is a great tool to defend and protect ourselves when we're in the right. And in fact, by that night, if I remember clearly, and I'm pretty sure I have it right, that video had 1.3 million views. And people from all over the country, actually all over the continent, started flowing to the Bundy Ranch. And I remember one man comes up to me and he says, Ammon, my name's so-and-so, and I came from New Hampshire. I just drove 34 hours to get here. What do you want me to do? And that happened. There was a man from Alaska. There was a man that was in Iraq that actually called, and after there was hundreds of people there, he actually called and sent 100 pizzas, ordered 100 pizzas, because he couldn't be there himself. And it was a great unity of the people. And ultimately, what happened was it escalated. They continued, and then once these federal agents began to see that the people were united, and that they were not going to be deterred. That they were there to stand. That they actually stopped the operation, and they gathered all the cattle that they had, which is almost 400 head of cattle at this time, put them in a corral, and they had plans to sell those cattle. They actually had an cattle livestock auction in central Utah that they paid reportedly an extra $300,000 just to run them through their auction. But what happened was the governor of Utah ordered them to not bring those cattle into Utah. That's right. They even put the Higher Patrol at the check station and said, any cattle that come in here, you check to make sure that they're not the Bundy's cattle. And if they are, you do not let them come into this state. Idaho wouldn't let them come into the state. Arizona wouldn't let them come to it. And actually even California, the auction yards in California would not sell those cattle. And they were stuck there on the Bundy Ranch. Until enough people from all over the country could come together and go up there and insist that they release those cattle. And there's
how good Americans are.
What's that?
It shows you how good Americans
That's
are.
right. It shows you how we defend our rights and how we unite and come together and do that. And so what happened? I wish I could show you a couple pictures, because I have a picture of I don't want to exaggerate, but I would say it's almost a half a mile, bumper to bumper, and I'm not exaggerating, of federal vehicles on their way out of the Bundy Ranch. And after they left, we went in there, and the people lined the hills. Went in there, opened up the gates, and we drove those cattle back up to the river. And they were hurting. They had 3 or 4, even some of them even 5 days. Were in pretty bad shape. There was several of them were dead in the corrals. Many of them had broken hips and broken joints and different things. They were trying to calve right there in those corrals. But we were able to take them and drive them back down to the river where there's sand, and they were able to get some good grass, and people were able to see that, and it was almost like a miracle. In fact, I tell you, it was a miracle. It was a miracle, right?
That's an American miracle.
It was an American miracle. It really was, and I was just privileged to be part of it. And to even speak about it just brings me to tears, because of how merciful God is and how merciful He was to us. Because we went just a few days from thinking that this was going to be the last week of our lives to our cattle coming back to the ranch. How we thought, I remember at the beginning that we thinking, how in the world are we ever going to preserve our ranch? But the Lord made it happen. And He did it by touching the hearts of individuals. That's right. He touched their hearts, and they came to the ranch. And they knew and understood that that was what had to be done. And I share these things with you because I hope you can see the parallel of what can happen here and what must happen here, and how it is crucial that an individual defends his rights first, claims them, uses them, and then defends them. And when he does that, because of the circumstance that we are in, he will certainly be put under the force. And at that point, all of us, in the effort to love our neighbor and to follow the Spirit of the Lord, we have to go and stand with that person.